Hello and welcome to our 2012 Stewardship DVD. What you're going to be seeing as we move through this is a number of our members talking about two questions. The first is, what has Trinity done for you? Or maybe more accurately, what has God done for you through our congregation? And the second thing they'll answer is, what have you done for the church? And I thought I'd start by kind of giving you an answer that Pastor Chris and I have been talking about a little bit to both these questions. The first is, what has Trinity or God done through Trinity for us? So many things, it's hard to say all of them that are a part of it. First of all, certainly God has given us a place to use our gifts here. And that is so exciting because this is a wonderful congregation in which people truly have a sense of wanting to reach out with the love of God. And we have a part in that. It's so exciting to be a part of that as we work with Family Promise and with Threshold, with Crop Walk, with our brothers and sisters in the Meru Diocese in Tanzania. There are so many ways that we are carrying on the ministry of sharing God's love, and it's exciting to be a part of that. And we're thankful that God has called us to be in this place. We're also thankful for all the love and support that we have found in this community, and I think many have found that. They have been here for us as our children were growing up. Our children always felt welcome as a part of this community, and that has been very special for us. And the congregation has been there for us in our times of need. They have supported both Chris and I through the death of our mothers, lifting us up, caring for us in prayer. This is an incredible community to be a part of, and we thank all of you for what you've done for us and for what God has done for us through you. What have we offered to Trinity? Well, we've offered all of our gifts to this congregation. We have committed ourselves to the work of God here at Trinity and in the larger church as well. I work with our synod on their anti-racism team. Chris has worked with youth things at a larger church level. We offer all that we are to God in love and thankfulness. We also offer our financial resources. Chris and I haven't ever talked much about what we give to the church. We've always felt a little self-conscious about that. But at this time, we thought, well, maybe it's important to do some sharing about that. Chris and I have a vision of wanting to share 10% of what we have for the work of God. And so we have tried over the years, trying to get closer and closer to that. And I was really excited that last year, for the first time, we could give 10% of our income to the ministry that goes on here at Trinity. We gave somewhere around $11,000 to the general fund here, along with some of the other ministries that we could support. And we have that same commitment for this year. I'm not sure how it's going to go. We have 2 kids in school. We're struggling with medical expenses, things that I'm sure all of you understand. And so, but still, this place is so important that we want to offer ourselves as fully as we can to the ministry that we do together. And now you'll hear from some other members of Trinity how they have been blessed by God through the work of this congregation and how they've had the opportunity to share their gifts to God through the work of Trinity. And I hope that you enjoy these moments of just being able to share with your brothers and sisters in Christ, and that you will do some thinking yourself. Enjoy the DVD.
Hi, I'm Nate Schubat, and I'm involved here at Trinity in the Confirmation and Youth Ministries. And I was asked to think a little bit about what it is that I give to the ministries and what I get back. As I think about what I give, really there's only a couple of things. One is time. Now often it's easy to find the time to be involved, but let's face it, sometimes it's hard. When you stack it up against other priorities like work and friends and home. But if something's important, you make it a priority, and pretty soon it just becomes what you do. The other thing I give is just the willingness to talk openly and honestly with the kids about life and faith and how I see them coming together. Maybe it's the successes or the failures, or the time when the only answer is, I don't know. But when I think about what I get back from it, I have no doubt that my faith is deeper and stronger than it would have been had I spent that time elsewhere. They say, if you really want to learn something, try to teach it. And it's true. When I look out the window, I see a world that's better than I would have seen if I hadn't been involved here. My relationship with the world is richer than it would have been if I had spent that time somewhere else. And spending time with the kids, all that chaos and all that possibility, there's so much energy. I've had the opportunity to see a lot of creation come out of that chaos. I've had a chance to see, acts of kindness and courage and generosity that most people never get a chance to see. And let's face it, that's some of the stuff that makes it easy to celebrate the good times and to endure the hard times. And spending time with the kids, I'll tell you, it can be a wild ride. But we all know that the best adventures, a wild ride is always a part of the best adventures. Thank you.
Emily Oreinick. I coordinate Family Promise for Trinity. I have been coordinating Family Promise for about 2 years now. This involves giving my time to the church, and it's not a burden on me in any way. It is challenging the week that we have to give our time, but it isn't burdensome. It is actually a calling I felt when I heard about Family Promise. I coordinate the services, I coordinate the food, make sure everybody's where they need to be. It is very enjoyable for me because I know that I am providing food and shelter for up to 4 families for a week that did not have food and shelter previous to this. They are grateful. They are wonderful people. I've been able to show many members of Trinity through Family Promise and the Family Promise people that homelessness isn't just the person on the side of the road that has a cart. Homelessness is families that just fell on hard times. The service has given so much to me. I have learned so many things about myself, and that I can do things that I never thought I could do. And it's an enjoyable experience every week. They're different people all the time, different personalities, and I learn things about myself. Family is teach my children about the necessity to give service to the church. They love coming to Family Promise. They get excited, they want to help, they like meeting the people, and it's a great week for us. So I encourage anybody that is looking for some service to try some of the outreach ministries here at Trinity. They are all rewarding, and believe it or not, it's not just a burden to use some of your time. You actually get a lot of benefit from it also.
We are the church.
Hello, I'm Nick Shube, and as long as I've been here, what I've always known is this is like a second home to me. When I was growing up, I would spend almost as much time here as I would at my actual house, because I'd always be here with my mom and dad. And I remember every step of the way that all of the different members here at Trinity have always been like a family to me. And that community of just love and caring is what brought me into the fold. And ever since then, I have been doing pretty much whatever I can to help others feel that family as well. Ever since 6th grade, I have worked with groups like FISH, which is the 4th through 6th grade ministry, for those of you who don't know. I've worked with confirmation, and I've done the senior high trips. And in these past few years, I really wanted to thank the church, because what they've done for me is not only provided a home and a family for me to grow up in, but then when it was time for me to go out into the world, they gave me a view of what the world really is. I wasn't constrained to West Bend, but through all of the compassionate donations and all the workings of the volunteers and the adults who help with confirmation and senior high all the time, I've gotten to go to 2 youth gatherings. I get to go to camp. I get to travel across the United States to see where my brothers and sisters really need me. And that is probably the most important thing that I ever could have asked for. And the church is currently helping me go through college at Luther College in Iowa. And I'm hoping to go into ministry and continue to spread the family wherever I can. But it's been in these years here at the church that I've really become myself. And that's because in this community, there was no fear of being who I was. And so while I don't have a lot of money personally to put forward, I do have the time. And for me, that's the most important part of what I give, is my time and my compassion, because that is where I feel I'm most needed, and that's where my gifts can shine. I'm still enjoying it.
We are the church.
I'm Rick Gilbertson, and I've been singing in church for about 50 years now, a little more than that actually. I started singing in front of church in the children's choir as a little tot, and then eventually moved into the longer robes in the junior choir, then became a part of the senior choir there. And when I hit high school, I became part of the choral program there, and also madrigal, and started singing with them, but always kept active at my church as well. Went off to college, became a part of the university choir in Oshkosh at UWO, but still found a church to stay involved. And it's always felt very natural for me to be in front or being part of the liturgy, the music liturgy. It's been a very rewarding thing for me. I know in high school, when I had to fill out my occupational goal, I wrote down that I wanted to be a singing minister. When I met Hazel Griffin in Hartford about 12 years ago, she invited me to come here to Trinity, and I think that's when I really found my best fit, becoming what I originally wanted back in 1972, to become a singing minister. I feel like I finally reached that goal. I think it might sound corny to say, if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this can be, but I do believe that, and in my very small way, that's what I'm trying to do with my life. I think that there's a line in the prayer that we started. I'd like to read one line from that prayer, which kind of sums up my experience, and that is, "Use me, Lord of rhythm and harmony, as you would play upon a hollow reed, so that those who I'm called to serve may be attuned to your spirit and moved to prayer." Something I'd like to add, that as part of stewardship, of course, is giving of oneself, and I feel like it feels right to give of my talents or to be able to sing for the Lord, but another part of that is the give and take aspects. I'm also feeling very rewarded by what I'm doing. It feels like it's a good thing to do. It touches my heart. I have to be careful sometimes not to get too deep into the lyrics of the songs, because then I can get too emotional to even produce vocal sound. But if I can reach out to others and touch someone, then that's where the magic is. And to give, but also to receive and get that warm, fuzzy feeling inside.
Hi. You know, when we first came to Trinity 20-some years ago, we were searching for a church, and what we found instead was a community, a world, a whole family that was beyond any sort of structured church building or whatever. For me and for my family, Trinity has opened up a whole world of possibilities of ways that we can share. One of the things I really like about Trinity is that we're such a welcoming, open community that we enable people to use their gifts where they stand. Not everybody has the same gifts. Not everybody's a Rick Gilbertson who can sing phenomenally. Some of us are sloppy harmonica players, and we can join in when we can. For me, interacting with Trinity, I've kind of taken my time to get involved in slow ways. I've served on council in different ways. I've been on committees. I was in a men's group for a while. I found things that made sense to me. I found activities that Stephen ministry that touched me in the place that I was at the time. Obviously, the relationship with our brothers and sisters in Tanzania is huge to me. It formed the basis for the purpose of the next years of my life, of building preschools in Africa for my organization, Brick by Brick. That would not have happened without being involved in Trinity, without being involved in outreach. And for that, I'll forever be grateful. What I've gotten from teaching Sunday school to sixth graders these past years is invaluable to me in life. I've learned as much about Scripture and about myself and about humanity from a bunch of 11-year-old kids than I think I have in other areas. And I feel like I get as much as I give in that regard. There's just so much that is rich and powerful and full, and basically it's all about the people. You know, the church isn't the building, it's not the walls or the structure. You know, I remember teaching Sunday school in the boiler room while we're in the middle of construction, and that actually was a year that went great. You know, it's all about the kids, and it's about the people, and it's about our relationship with God and how we give what we have in that regard. We are the church.
Well, hello, my name is Charlie Hellman. I've been part of Trinity Lutheran for, pretty much on and off all my life. My parents moved to West Bend when I was just a toddler. They originally came from northern Minnesota, where there were 3 churches in town: a Norwegian Lutheran church, Swedish Lutheran church, and a Finnish Lutheran church. So after living in a number of parts of the country, they chose West Bend as a place to live, and West Bend Company as a place to work, and Trinity as a place to worship. So, as I said, I've been here since I was a little tyke. I've been through Sunday school at Trinity. I was in Luther League, of course. I went through 3 years of confirmation at Trinity. In fact, if you can still see my confirmation picture down in the basement there, if you really want to see, in the mid-'60s. And so, like I say, grew up in this church. Anyway, what do I love about Trinity? Well, it's about the people. I find a sense of strong community at Trinity. I'm involved in the singing. My family is very musically talented. I'm what we might call a B-side singer. But nonetheless, they have welcomed me with open arms, and I very much enjoy expressing worship through music. I'm involved also now on taking my stint on the church council. But I think it all comes down we've had a long string of pretty good church leadership from our pastors down, and our current pastors are just great. They provide a very good, welcoming atmosphere to Trinity, and that's what I love about it. It's a very welcoming church. we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we also believe that certainly part of worship is providing service to the community, and I think Trinity is pretty good at that. And that's why I'm happy to be a part of it, because it's a place where you can, whether it's donating your time or donating your money, you're pretty assured that that's going to help somebody, and it's going to help someone without you having to worry about anything. So that's what I enjoyed certainly about this church. And so that's about it. I like I say, I've been here for quite a while, and I can't imagine being in another place. So thank you. We are the church.
Hi, my name is Myra Ganeri. I've been asked to say what I have done over the years for Trinity, and I have done several things. When Pick and Save had the We Care program, I was the We Care coordinator for Trinity, so all of those receipts from the grocery store that people turned in, I would tally them all up, and we would get 1% of the total for our church. I've taught Bible school for one summer for a week. I've been in the choir. I've been, I guess you could say, as an usher. I've been a greeter, and I have been working with the Sunday school program since 1986 as their attendance secretary. I keep track of who comes. I also do cradle roll for Trinity. People that have their children baptized, I send periodically things to them every 3 months or so until they're the age of 3 years. And I'm also a council member. And as far as what Trinity has done for me, I've belonged here since 1966. This is the only church I've ever gone to besides my hometown church in South Dakota as a member. And I like Trinity. They're friendly people. And I've learned lots of things about the Bible that I thought I understood before, but I never really did till I went through several Bible studies. I've always had good things come out of the Bible studies that I attended. I also think that it has deepened my faith. It's helped me raise my children. They've been I've had 3 sons. They are all baptized here, confirmed here, and 2 of them were married here. The other one is married, but he was married some up in Door County. And they helped me raise them in the Christian faith. I think Trinity is an excellent church, and it's deepened my faith, and it's just a place of comfort and peace.
We are the church.
Hi. The question is, what have I gotten out of belonging to Trinity? I kind of look back and find that where did it start with me as far as going to church? And I think I can remember when I was 5 years old, and I would walk around the corner by myself to a neighborhood church, and I didn't know what nationality or religion it was. And I thought it was so great that when you walked in the door and you sat down, you got a Bible and a hymnal. And I took that home with me, and that kind of stuck with me until I had to come back with it, and I had to give it back. Well, 10 years later, I kind of was looking for churches as you move around and stuff, and I came upon Trinity. And Trinity has been, I think, just a warm and friendly place. I like it because people are open, and I get lots of hugs. I like that. I am involved a lot with Trinity. I'm involved with the Women's Circle. I'm involved with Bible study. I help out with rummer sales and many more things, I guess. But what I get out of it, I think, is acceptance and a very feeling of joy and and friendships?
6 years. And so I was there every Sunday helping kids, well, almost every Sunday. And I helped with confirmation for about a year. While I'm in college, attempting to help with some of the confirmation retreats at Pine Lake. And I helped with Vacation Bible School for like 7 years and attended Vacation Bible School and all the Sunday school programs when I was young. So those are all things like, as I progressed through Sunday school, I grew into the program and like started teaching. And then things that Trinity has given to me would be a really strong faith community. Though I've drifted apart from some of my confirmation friends, like we still talk every once in a while, and it's great to reconnect. And it's given me a really strong purpose in my faith. Right now I'm on the track to go to seminary, and I'm planning to become a pastor. So Trinity has been a really big part of that. And it's been like another home to me. I hung out there a lot when I was in high school. And it's just, the youth program has made a really big impact with all of our mission trips and our weekend things. And I remember going tubing with everyone in the winter and picnics in the summer. And it makes a bigger difference than any of you guys could ever know.
My wife and I have been members of 4 congregations in our nearly 63 years of married life. And as I reflect back on those years of membership in those congregations, I do not know any congregation of the 4, within the 4 that is greater than that which happens here at Trinity Lutheran Church. It's a great outreach and inreach in the congregation. I teach a Bible class of strong Lutherans who are getting stronger each day, and they're studying the Bible and discussing the principles that rise out of the Scripture. And that pleases me greatly that I have this opportunity to do that within Trinity Church. My wife is deeply involved with women's groups, but also has a ministry too of helping with finding volunteers for assist with confirmation, for communion, and does so many other things that involves her in the life of the congregation. So we're deeply pleased. We're also pleased with Trinity's level of giving to benevolence, and that's been one of my great interests in life as a member of the church, is to see how a congregation, through the synods and into the church-wide, that we can reach more and more people as dollars are multiplied and they're giving and pooling dollars to serve ministries throughout the world. Yes, we do a lot at this congregation at Trinity to do reaching out. Ministries in Africa, in Central and South America, great testimonies of the strength and love that extends from this congregation. I don't know any congregation that has a more lively and a meaningful youth ministry than is here housed at Trinity Lutheran Church. The youth are receiving such great groundings in what it is to be a Christian, what it is to live out the principles of God in through his teaching in Jesus Christ. I don't know where it could happen more. And I think that these young people will grow up and be strong men and women of the faith. And that's going to be a blessing that's given through Trinity, to Trinity Church, to a number of people. I do hope and I pray that this congregation will, in times of concern and times of economic concerns, will still continue to grow, and grow not only numerically, although certainly we want to be reaching out, but grow in faith, grow in their convictions that as Christians we can and we should do more than what we have in the past. And I know that, but giving that prayerful thought, things will come. Thank you.
We are the church.
I am Jim Wallisford, and my wife Avis have been members of the Trinity Church for 57 years as of now. My parents were not regular churchgoers, although they saw to it that I got off to Sunday school on a regular and consistent basis. My confirmation class is held in a church basement that seemed dark, dreary, and damp. The pastor was the fire and brimstone variety, instilling fear within me if I hadn't memorized my lesson thoroughly. Following confirmation, my commitment to attend church functions and be involved in youth activities waned. It wasn't until I was in service that I really felt the need to go to church regularly. Prior to that time, church seemed like more of an organization of buildings and a hierarchy of older people that ran it. Seemingly, I went to church only to satisfy my own spiritual needs. I was a taker, internalizing the messages the pastor had to offer, but giving nothing to others in exchange. Avis and I went to church rather regularly during our dating period, and on an even more consistent basis after our marriage. Both of us became involved in normal church activities and served on a few committees in church council. I believe I viewed the church as more or less of a business, in spite of it reaching and touching some of my spiritual needs. A change occurred in my view of the church as I matured in my relationship with Avis and God. I now see the church as a place of love and caring, and realize we are the church. Sharing this love of ours and our love for the church extends well beyond the immediate walls of our church home. I believe I have an ongoing commitment to share God's love in a way in which we feel comfortable and genuine. Our relationship within and out of the church with other Christians is important to us. Our pastors guide us to continued sharing of God's abiding love. I see myself now as more of a giver. We trust that we are sharing God's love as we strive toward the meaning of the scripture, which states that it is more blessed to give than to receive. Pledging time is fast approaching. Over the many years we have been members of Trinity, we have determined it is best for us to first set aside our commitment because it is our top priority. Our life experiences have helped us to realize that our material, financial resources are not ours to keep and store, but ours to invest and share with others. I trust that whatever you decide to pledge and share, you do so prayerfully and with a joyous heart. God bless you in your decisions.
We are the church.
Hi, my name is Chet Nielsen. I was asked by Pastor Dave to say a few words today, a little bit about my involvement with the church and what it means it has done for me and my family. I've been involved with Trinity for over 65 years now. I was born into this church, and as I grew and got involved, my level of involvement got more and more. Got a chance as I grew older to move away for a few years, and when I came back, it was it was fun to come back to something like Trinity. It helped propel me to the point where I wanted to be involved in the church council, and that was a wonderful experience. Got involved in the finances and stewardship area, which was an interesting experience and helped me grow and helped me ask questions of myself. And one of the things you may have, some of you know me and some don't, my roots go pretty deep here because my father was very involved with this church and my grandfather was one of the founders. So yeah, my roots run pretty deep, and it's why I wanted to be involved wherever I can, but I found out for me to be out in the front is not important to me. I'd rather try to be a facilitator or try to help things happen that might not happen otherwise. I have this, one thing that's, I'd say is interesting, I said my relationship with the church and my God is a personal one. It's pretty private. So that's why I guess I'm more in the background. Doesn't mean my faith doesn't run deep, or that I got moved when a couple important events happened in my life. It comes down to the church is one of the things that's been stable in my life. Always been there, whether it's in person or through prayer. I found prayer helps. And it's been fun getting involved with the building of the addition on the church, and reaching out and talking to friends about making that a reality. Pastor Dave and Pastor Terry wanted me to talk about giving, and quite frankly, folks, it's a hard subject for me to talk about because it's a very personal thing. They asked why I do what I do, and it's because I said, because I can. Back in the old days, I would say, keep increasing giving till it feels good. I found out that was more than words for me. It became reality. And to reach out and help others has more returns than some of you may ever realize. So again, all I can say is this is a stewardship. I'm here for a stewardship drive, which is about reaching out. Each person has to look into their own heart and think about what they can do. Each of us have a family to take care of. Some people have not only children but grandchildren they worry about. I do. But everything sort of has to be put in its place, and I think that Trinity is something that needs to be there when you need it, and that's why I do what I do. It's been there every time I've needed it. Thank you for listening to my few words, and I wish you all a great day.
We are the church.
Hi, I'm Tom Bergerud. My wife Artie and I have been members of Trinity for 27 years. We've also raised 3 children at Trinity, Seth and Luke and Kelsey, and now we've got 2 grandchildren attending Trinity, Colin and Alex. So we're now a 3-generation family at Trinity. Trinity has always played an important role in our family's lives, both spiritually and socially. As I look back at our kids growing up here, Trinity provided them with confirmation and Sunday school and youth groups and the support and direction that we thought was really so important and helpful to our kids. And for Artie and myself, the ability to worship here, but also be involved with other people in activities, everything from picnics to potlucks to adult education kinds of things, has been important to us, and I think has given us a feeling of a real sense of community here at Trinity. As I think about this church, there are two things that I think I'm most proud of as a member and appreciate so much about our church. One is, I think, the fact that we are a very welcoming and open church. As I look around at the diversity in our congregation in terms of age and resources, it's great, and I take great joy sitting at the contemporary service and watching about a zillion little kids running up front for the children's service. It's really great to see. But another thing that I think is really important to me and I like about this church is that I think we are also very socially engaged in terms of our community and really globally too. That this is not just a church that operates within its four walls, but that we look for opportunities to assist people with disabilities, people who are aging, other people with special needs, really at all levels. And I think that's really an important role for our church and something that we want to be a part of. At the same time, we've always felt that that we have an obligation to, if we want this church to continue to be a great church, serving our family and other families, that we have responsibilities to give back to the church to help make that possible. And so we try and think in terms of our time and talents and what other resources we have. So, for instance, I have over the years had time, maybe not so much talent, but time that I was able to give in terms of ushering, counting money. I've been down here shoveling sidewalks in the past, serving on the church council and different committees, and at one point was honored to serve actually as council and church president. Artie, my wife, has been involved in things like altar guild and choir, teaching Sunday school and those kinds of things. And we kind of have that philosophy, I guess, if we all do a little, nobody has to do too much, and we all are stronger because of it. The other thing Artie and I have tried to do is share our financial resources, and we recognize that every person is at a different point in their lives in terms of their ability to do that. But again, we kind of take that United Way approach that if everybody gives something based on their ability, we'll be fine. I think it's easy to walk away from church at the end of a Sunday and forget about the fact that this is a business and it needs to operate like a sound business. We have expenses that need to be met. We have an incredibly great staff that we need to pay. And those are realities. And unless we all do what we can do, those are things that are easily lost. So we do what we can, and we recognize that each person can only do what they can. So I guess in summary, we've always looked at this church at Trinity as more than a house. I know people talk about their church as a house of God. We see it more as a home for our family and for other families, and one that has that sense of community where we can worship and socialize and build a stronger community together. We are the church.
I'd like to thank everybody for the time that it took for them to tell their stories. I'd like to thank Paul Bodwin for making this film, because it took a lot of work and effort to be able to tell the story in a way we really wanted you all to hear. And that is that Trinity's ministry doesn't happen outside of what we all do together. Several years ago at a new members meeting, someone asked me a question that totally caught me off guard. We had just gotten through presenting what the vision of Trinity was and our core values, and we had spoken about just how many opportunities there were to be involved and to touch the world with God's love through Trinity's ministries. And one of the prospective new members looked at me and said, well, what do you expect of us as members? And I realized that perhaps that's something we should have been giving a lot more thought and attention to over the years, because there is a difference between being a visitor or a guest at Trinity, being someone who comes occasionally to worship or someone who comes to take part in one of the children's ministry opportunities or one of the celebrations. There's a big difference. Anyone is welcome, all are welcome to be a part of that. We're all joined as God's family. But as members, we're given the responsibility and the privilege to be Trinity in this place. There are no ministries, there is no touching of the world with God's love that happens without us together doing it. The stories of those that came before me on this DVD shared just how integral a part of their lives it is, that you receive blessings from God, you talk about them, you teach them, you pass them on to your kids, and in the process, faith grows. That's how it happens. There's no other way. And so as we presented these stories to you, and as we're going to be asking for your support for the year 2013, it's in a way that hopes you realize that we are so blessed to have so many things going on around here and so many ways that we can combine our talents to find support and to touch the world with God's love. But they won't happen if they aren't supported by each one of us. Our ministries happen because we, as the members of Trinity, looking at the world that we see and the needs that we see around us, identify things that are important to us, places that are important enough for us to concentrate our time and our effort and our energy and our finances to be sure they get done. We're living as the church in a time that desperately needs to hear the gospel, that desperately needs to hear a message of hope and forgiveness and salvation and the interconnectedness of all of us. We have a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic message, but what it really needs is our fantastic commitment to be sure that it happens. I hope you were impressed by how many people spoke before me and were willing to share their stories and realize that it's just the tip of the iceberg of the folks that make Trinity a church able to touch its world the way it does. And so I hope you recognize, as we're asking you to think about how you're going to share your treasure, how you're going to share your time and your talents in 2013, that you recognize how very much we need each of you to be a part of this ministry if we're going to maintain the ministries that we have going already, and if we're going to reach out even deeper into the dark places and meet needs that God has called us not only to notice, but to change and to work together to do something about. I guess the last word I want to say is, usually I used to be very hesitant about talking about stewardship, just especially because times were hard and I made a million excuses for everybody, including myself. But the truth is that if it's really, really important to you to try to make a difference in the world, this is the way to do it. We're investing in a future different than the one that the world is offering. And we're telling a truth that's very counterintuitive but true. That when you reach out into the world and try to let God's light shine into the dark places your life touches, God's light shining through you can't help but lighten and strengthen and give peace to your life as well. Thank you. I'd like to talk to you just for a few minutes about the 4 specific areas of Trinity's ministries that we're asking you to consider as you consider your support in the year ahead. Trinity's worship ministries are the heart of our life as a congregation. They provide the opportunity to come together as God's family in this place. They give us a chance to praise God, deepen our faith, recenter our values, remember our true identity, empower our serving, find peace and direction in chaos, and find strength and support in our suffering. The worship ministries include everything that is done to make our worship opportunities joyful, grace-filled, empowering, faith-building experiences. Members supply the time and support for everything from the music, singers, and bulletins, to the audio-visual equipment, the technical support, and the projection on the screen itself, to the ushering, greeting, and providing, setting up, and serving the communion elements. Members also provide transportation for those who cannot drive themselves to worship. They volunteer to watch children in the nursery so parents can have a chance to recenter as well. And members bake and serve and clean up after each of the coffee hours to give folks a chance to connect and to draw strength and support from their brothers and sisters. In case you are interested, about 315 people on average worship at Trinity each weekend. And the time and talents of at least 60 people are volunteered every week to provide the weekend worship experience, including music, coffee hour, transportation, and nursery. All the things that we're accustomed to. A big piece of what we do here at Trinity are the building up ministries. We live in a world that worships fame, fortune, and physical beauty, and preaches a gospel of excessive consumption, constant escape, and shameless self-centeredness. We are surrounded by multiple faiths and pictures of God and humanity. The church is the only place that provides opportunities to study and discuss the scriptures, our struggles, and our faith. It is also one of the few places left in our culture where different generations can interact, share, lean on, and learn from one another. Trinity's building up ministries allow us to hear the family stories of our faith and to develop and deepen our Christian identities. They also offer us God's love and strength in difficult times. Our building up ministries include all of our faith development ministries, from Sunday children's ministry to confirmation to VBS to adult faith forums, Bible studies, book studies, and other ministries. The building up ministries also include all of our support, fellowship, and service groups that strengthen us by deepening our Christian identities and developing our relationships with our sisters and brothers at Trinity. These groups include everything from FISH, Trinity's 4th through 6th grade youth group, to our senior high youth, to the ladies of Dorcas, to the softball team, and to the people of the PEP group. Our building up ministries also include providing for all of our special congregational celebrations, like Rally Day and Mardi Gras. And finally, our building up ministries cover all of our visitation, caregiving, and support ministries, from the folks who get together to make the prayer shawls to those who bake for, set up, and serve at funerals. The last piece of the building up puzzle and the building up expenses is the whole area of communication. When we support our building up ministries, we also support, assure, and enhance the communication required to coordinate and enable ministry to take place. From bulletins to announcements, from newsletters to our website, from YouTube to Facebook, Trinity's members need to know what's going on in order to be involved. Just in case you were wondering, in 2012, 137 children, ages 3 years old to grade 6, are served by our Sunday Children's Ministry. 33 7th and 8th graders meet every Wednesday for confirmation ministry. 12 youth were confirmed in 2012. In order for our children's and confirmation ministries to run properly, the time and talents of over 45 people are needed every week. And finally, 28 Trinity Senior High youth attended the 2012 ELCA Youth Gathering in New Orleans last summer. Our Reaching Out ministries are those things that solidly identify us as the church. We're built up and we worship in order to be energized in our identity as God's arms and feet and hands and love in the world. Reaching out is where we make it count. Our calling as Christians is to reach out and touch the world with God's love and grace. We are to be signs of God's presence to our neighbors, in our church, our community, and all around the world. Out of our budget, a little under 1/10 of our weekly offering goes on to support the ministries of the whole Evangelical Lutheran Church in America throughout the world, within the United States, and within the Greater Milwaukee Synod. This money helps provide resources for advocacy and direct aid to local and global ministries addressing poverty, justice, health, and relief from natural disasters. It also helps support ministries provided by missionaries, the Lutheran Volunteer Corps, Lutheran Outdoor Ministries, Lutheran colleges and seminaries, and a variety of other church-related organizations. It also goes on to fund faith-building experiences, such as the National Youth Gathering, and congregational tools for deepening and broadening our ministries. After that 1/10 is taken out of the budget, then we go on to support local partnership efforts within our community and interdenominational agencies of help, support, and emergency aid. Finally, through the budget, the Reaching Out ministries include ministries of invitation, designed to share what we have here with others around us and to offer them a place in our ministry together. Now, the Reaching Out area is different than the others because it goes beyond the budget. Beyond the budget, most of our Reaching Out ministries on local, national, and global levels are handled outside of the budget. Needs are lifted up, efforts are staffed and supported by the members of Trinity, and the world is touched with God's love. Financially, these are handled as special appeals and entrusted to the passion, concern, and compassion of the members of Trinity. These outreach ministries include our ongoing relationships with the Food Pantry, Family Promise, Sura Congregation, and the Meru Diocese. They also cover the national or church-wide appeals we've supported, like the Relay for Life or the ELCA Malaria Project. And they go on to cover the numerous appeals designed to offer aid for emergency relief and for research and treatment of various diseases and conditions that have touched our Trinity family. The last area of our budget that needs all of our support sounds the least romantic, but it's obviously necessary for anything else to happen. We call it the area of building, facilities, and ministry support. Our church building, property, and facilities are the place where the vast majority of our ministry happens. They provide us with beautiful, effective spaces where we can worship God, enjoy fellowship with one another, and meet the spatial, educational, and material needs of many of our ministries. We are blessed that Trinity is alive with activity every day of the week. Our building and facilities allow us to offer a safe, comfortable, and versatile meeting space for community ministries and organizations like Threshold Elder Care, Narcotics Anonymous, Family Promise of Washington County, the A-Team, Christian Counseling, and the Mexican Folk Dancers. All of our regular ministries are supported by member giving in this area. This budget covers utilities, maintenance and repairs, and it covers a wonderful staff that keeps things clean, well-maintained, and running smoothly. This area also covers the technological equipment and support used by all of our ministry areas, as well as the financial education, planning, and oversight required to make the best use of our resources.
Sharing our
In conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to view this DVD, to discuss with your family the importance of your presence within the various ministries of Trinity and what you can do to help make 2013 be a year that we can continue to reach out and touch our world with God's love. I hope you've enjoyed listening to all the stories of how their faith has shaped the lives of many of your fellow members. I hope you've given some thought to what you might say if someone asked you, what have you given to the church and what has the church given to you? We look forward to the fabulous things we can do in ministry in the years to come.